Welcome to the DraftKings Pick6 series here with Josh and Nate. We are running through a little bit of a compilation here to help you guys understand exactly what the best benefits are for DraftKings Pick6. Hopefully up to now you are subscribed to the page, so you've checked out the other videos we've sent your way. And if you do not yet have a DraftKings Pick6 account, definitely want to use code LINES6, and that will help you out a little bit when you guys sign up for one of these accounts here. Like I said, we're just going to run through some of the best reasons to go ahead and play Pick6 and some of the benefits of choosing this platform as you guys are making your sports betting wagers moving forward. So, Nate, why don't you kick us off with the top reason here that we're looking at for some Pick6 stuff?
Yeah, I mean, biggest reason off the bat is this is a peer-to-peer platform, as we outlined in other ones. You pick between 2 and 6 props, player props you can see right there for the NBA, and you're not going up against a book like you would on a couple of the other pick'em apps, right? You're going up against other players, so you can kind of you can take advantage of that by going against groupthink. You can, for potentially getting actually a bigger payout than just a parlay at a sports book might get. I mean, that's going to be a set line. Your payouts at Pick6 could be more, they could be less than parlays, depending on how contrarian you're willing to be with these picks, because basically, like with DFS, you can kind of think about how the group, the herd, if you will, is going to gravitate towards things and say, like, if I'm going to go against the herd on 3 or 4 picks, and everything kind of goes unexpectedly to a degree, like I could get a huge payout here as one of the few people in the top of the money there. At the same time, I mean, that's a strategy for DFS, for daily fantasy sports in these big tournaments, but these outcomes are kind of more independent than those, because you aren't necessarily depending on getting like the perfect combination to get to the top of these huge groups. You just need to get your combination right, and then worry about, and then hope that other people were not as accurate there on the given slate for the potential bigger payout. But it is kind of just like more worry about what's on your side of the fence, right? Than a GPP for daily fantasy sports, where you have so much to think about and so much to hope for in terms of getting towards the top of that leaderboard.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's definitely got to be the top value point here and proposition for those of you interested in the DraftKings Pick6, which I know we're playing. It's mostly just not having to go against the books, but at the same time being able to cash out a little bit more easily than having to place really highly in a regular DFS style tournament, and you still get the benefit of going head to head at the same time. So love that, and I would say that kind of works seamlessly into the point that I want to bring up, which is the way that the lines lock. So when you do look at these, the lines and the props that are offered to you here, these haven't moved since they opened on this platform, right? 29.5 points for Luka, 28.5 points for Jokic. That's what they opened at on this platform, and that's what they're going to stay at should you want to play either of those bets or any of these that you see up right here for the NBA on a Tuesday as we're recording. Why is that awesome? Because you get to use the other sports books which are moving their lines consistently from the moment that they open until the moment that the game starts, depending on the amount of action. We know that these sports books, such as the traditional ones, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, etc., all of those are going to move their lines. So you can now see how market pressure impacts certain things and decide if this line now holds value. So, for instance, if Luka Doncic opens at 29.5 and locks here for DraftKings Pick6 platform, if you go look at the way that this movement might impact things on other books, you can see maybe Luka Doncic has now been bet down. People like the under 29.5 points as he comes back from injury, and as a result, they're taking the under. So now this is actually 27.5 or 28.5 points on other books, meaning we now have a bunch of value to go under. We have it at 29.5 and it didn't move. So that has to be something that people need to, that when you're playing this, you need to take advantage of the idea that certain lines are going to move with market pressure on other sports books, and as a result, you can easily pinpoint the value that you find here on these. I would say this is a great moment in time as well to use the lines.com player prop tool. That's where you can go ahead and see the different lines on different books right in front of you, as we know what those tools do, and it also will help you see some of the comparisons for all the different props that you want. So it's a really good tool that I highly recommend in conjunction when you're playing DraftKings Pick6.
Yeah, I mean, that's the easiest way to find an edge, like you're saying, it is to just see where there's discrepancies. We talked more about it with like college football, for example, when there's such a huge slate so
Sure.
many games to go through. You can see right off the bat that there's discrepancies between books, and you can find an edge based on where pick six sets the line within those, and in terms of getting your own props. But at the same time, like it's just a lot easier to use. I feel like than DFS specifically. I mean, sports books also work on your own schedule. They might not be available in your state, so I mean that's a big plus right here for pick six. Is if you
Right.
don't have sports book, you don't have player props for college football. While I'm on the subject, which is not available in lots of states, like you're going to want to go to pick six to get that. But it's just so much easier than DFS in terms of like you can find value and you can sign on in the last hour before an NBA slate starts, for
Yeah.
example. But you don't have to be checking it right up until lock or even past lock with late swap with DFS, right? You don't have to be monitoring every little development and thinking about how it's going to affect your minutes projections for different guys. Like you just make your picks and then it's locked. It's like basically the difference between best ball in fantasy football and actually doing a season long league where you have to be on top of your lineup and everything else that goes into it. It's just like once you make your picks, that those are your picks. So there is some definitely an appeal there. Definitely for the more casual better, and for just anybody who has a lot of other responsibilities in life and can't be monitoring the NBA injury report all the way up to 7 p.m. So, I mean, that's part of the reason why this growing platform like sees fewer pros or sharks,
Right.
fewer people able to use like algorithms the way they are in DFS and to get a huge edge there without even necessarily being a fan of the game. They have computer programs and algorithms that can get them the optimal lineup, and to just be on top of that right up to lock. Like that, it kind of takes away their edge in that sense and brings it more of an even playing field. But if you are, a heavy better, a pro, one of those sharks, there's no limits on pick six. So that is one thing where, yeah, you're not, even if you consistently get things right here and you're cashing, like you can put your $10, $30 pick six lineup for every slate you want, and the book will not limit you.
Right. Yep. And to just add to that point, it's pretty great how when you're making your plays here, the other thing that's sort of taken out is the idea that the Sharks have, like you said, access to way more information, but at the same time, you're still more likely, even when you do go up against Sharks, for instance, it's one entry per contest, and for the most part. Now, if you put so many entries in that you are likely to have two entries in one contest, okay, that might happen, but for the most part, they're looking to only have one entry per contest per entrant, right? So each person is only getting one. So even if you're going up against those Sharks, you're just going up against one lineup. They're not necessarily getting their lineup in and getting like 10, 12, 15, 20 different lineups in one tournament the way that they might in DFS. So at the same time, even when you do go up against some guys that we might consider Sharks in this set, or Sharks in that sense too, then we are looking at a little bit more of a level playing field per contest as well. So something to keep in mind there. And last point for me really is the void policy, which I think is crucial as well when you're talking about early lines that come out and lock. Well, what happens if I take that line and then the dude's out, right? Well, I have a pick set here of, let's say I have like 3 picks right now. Well, if I have these 3 picks and one of them gets voided, what happens? It's really simple. Let's say it's Mensa that's out. Well, that pick will just completely get voided. And now you're playing this as a 2-pick set, right? So you still have the opportunity to win as much as you would with 2 picks. And this is just completely voided from your card entirely. Now, obviously, it should be kept in mind, if they play one play in football, for instance, you're in. Right now, they've got the minimum requirement played, and that now the under is looking a lot better. So we've talked about that with strategies for different sports as well in some of the videos in this series, where if you are going to take a guy who's either hobbled or looking like he might not even play the whole game, there's the opportunity sometimes in college football for QBs to get benched mid-game for their backups, things like that. Then the under is going to be a little bit of a better play when you do have some question marks around a guy's availability, something to keep in mind as well. But the void policy will help you a ton with the lack of worry that, oh no, I got a guy in, now he's out, what do I do? You don't do anything. You just leave your pick set alone, and it's good to go as a slight with one less pick as a part of it.
Yeah, that dovetails right into what we're saying, where you don't have to scramble while you're at dinner with the family trying to fix your DFS lineup because somebody is scratched under the table. I think I've been there. But yeah, I mean, DraftKings Pick6, like DraftKings is really trying to promote this stuff. So, I mean, right now, yeah, you see there is a promotion up for new users, but there's also for all existing users pretty much on a nightly basis. They're going to boost the most popular slate. So for tonight, 30% boost on winnings if you take a 3+ pick set in the NBA. And if you do win money, yeah, they'll boost that by 30%. That's available to everybody. And that's more simple to use than a lot of the sportsbook promos I think you see often, which is like a 4-leg SGP. If you want, like, you got to make sure you switch to SGPX and then find it on DraftKings and then make sure you have the token and make sure, and see if it works. And like some don't qualify. And it's just a lot simpler with Pick6. It's just like, hey, you're going to boost it. I expect to see a lot more boosted bets and promotions as we get closer to holidays, as we get into NFL playoffs. Like they're going to key in on what people want to pick the most, and they're going to offer you the opportunity to get a little bit of a boost because, yeah, they know the big competitor is like, why aren't I just doing this as a parlay on a sports book on the same app? Because, you do have funds at both things if you're a DraftKings holder and if it's available in your state. But I mean, the answer is pretty clear when you get a boosted bet and when you get the potential to get a bigger payout.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And there's always there's the potential for the bigger payout, and there's the potential to at least make some money back, right? Now, if you play regular DFS like DraftKings, or if you're playing another pick'em site, right? Like say like Prize Picks or something to that effect, the only way that you're going to be able to get, money back if you don't hit all of your picks is if you play a very specific like flex style play. So once again, this is a lot simpler where you're still likely to win money if you get 3 out of 4 picks correct, or just miss 1 or miss 2 on a 6-legger, right? If you play 6 picks as your part of your pick set and 2 of them don't cash, you're still likely to make money hitting 4 out of 6. So there's some really good opportunity to make sure that even if you aren't winning as big sometimes, you're not losing nearly as big as well with $1 entries and all these different contests. You've really spread out your money a little bit more, diversified to allow yourself to win in different contests. So that's all the time we have for you, though, in this one. Definitely appreciate you guys following along with the DraftKings Pick6 series. Don't miss any of the other videos we have, including all the how-to stuff, what exactly this is, in addition to all the strategy stuff that we bring you sports specifically as well. So you can check out NBA, NFL, college sports, and the videos that we have to help you make your actual plays once you dive into the platform. So we will be back, as always, with our NBA and NFL player props and best bets videos. So make sure to subscribe to that page and continue to follow along. Until we see you next, happy betting.